and welcome to Aklogos podcast. My name is Rose Tebere. I'm your host today, and with me are my two beautiful co-hosts.
Sherelle Wilson-Morrison.
Anita Pinto-Young.
Right, ladies, I was reading in Community Care the other day, and it was it was an article on measuring burnout in social workers.
Wow.
And I was really struck by the high percentage of burnout. And by burnout for our audience, what I mean is that overwhelming exhaustion of, mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. And I was really struck by the high level of burnout in social workers. And they'd interviewed about 1,309 social workers.
Wow.
And out of that, 4 out of 5, about 73%, had actually experienced burnout and had experienced emotional stress and burnout. And as a well-being podcast, I was thinking it's an important subject to talk about today, about well-being and taking care of ourselves, putting ourselves first. So for our topic today, I would like us to discuss, self-care and putting self first. So I'll start with you, Anita.
Yes.
Have you ever experienced burnout?
Shame to say yes.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Well, I say shame. I don't know. I say shamed because I preach self-care. And so every time I feel burned out, I kick myself. And I think, what are you doing? Like, you talk about well-being all the time. So why are you burning out? And the more I reflected on it, the more I realized that, burnout is not just dependent on you. A lot of the times it's the systems around you.
Yeah.
And the settings, lots of different things can create burnout. There are times when the workload goes up, the stress level goes up, and you're in a position where the support isn't there. And then I have to be a bit kind to myself and recognize that it's not all my fault.
Yeah.
Because we're part of systems that sometimes go through flux, go through changes, go through difficulties, and then it sometimes creates burnout. What was the question again, Rose? I don't even know.
The question is, have you ever experienced burnout?
Yes. I've experienced burnout a few times.
Wow.
I've experienced burnout a few times. Short answer, yes.
Wow. How about you, Cheryl?
Okay. I'm loving this.
Why?
Because we started straight with you, and I'm just loving to hear this. So thank you for sharing your moments
Oh my God.
of that with us, Anita.
Rose,
As our
help
listeners
your
can
friends.
see, someone copied me with the red. I had to throw it out there before you could get there.
Are you serious?
I did. Yes, I named it. So
Okay.
coming back onto your question,
Oh my
Rose.
God. We're talking about burnout and she's talking about red.
Oh, you
Well-
too? Never mind them.
In terms of your question, Rose, apologies. Yes, unfortunately, I'm also, I would say, ashamed to say that I have experienced burnout on more than one occasion. When you think about some organisational processes and expectations on workers, it can be quite toxic.
Yeah.
And I think from my own personal experiences and that of others that I know who have experienced burnout, the work's never going to get done.
No.
And I agree with what you said, Anita, about being kind to ourselves, because sometimes we set a high standard, and then obviously given on whatever support you have in place,
Yeah.
that can also influence and impact you. And I do feel like through those moments of me experiencing burnout, it's made me push more so for self-care. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, and also sad to say, I must say, I've also experienced burnout. And for me, it was a time when I was in the court team and had so many quite complex cases, actually. And I even lost 9 days of leave at the
gosh.
time. And I'm glad that you're bringing the issue of, self-care, the importance of self-care, because I've often asked myself, what is it then that makes us work and work and work and work until we're burned out? Yeah. And when I reflect on the time that I was in the court team, it was more about, I've got to meet these deadlines.
Yeah.
I've got these time scales. I've got these court directions. And if I don't meet them, I'm going to get into trouble. And I still got into trouble because I dared to take leave at a time when I was completing final hearing, for which I got told of, even after losing 9 days of leave. But again, it's made me really think about, what is it that makes us work and work and work and work. I know you've mentioned some, but if we could talk about that, because it's something that I think we all ask ourselves, why is it that, why is there such a high level of burnout within social care? And I must say, it's not only from the article that I read, it wasn't just social workers, it was other practitioners and other professionals as well. So what is it about, why do we get to that stage?
I think sometimes there's internal pressures in terms of growing up. And some of what a conversation we had in a previous episode where we interviewed Grace Addy, and she spoke about excellence or growing up in a family where you're told you got 95%, why didn't you get 100?
Yeah.
And so sometimes, depending on the context we grew up in, especially I think for many of us who grew up in Africa or the Caribbean, and especially if you grew up in extreme poverty, the thing that's been drilled into you is, in order to be successful, you have to get an education.
Yeah.
But also there's that sense of you have to be twice as good because you're black.
Yeah.
So there's some of that. I think context of organization and something like social work, where we're not working on a project that has a beginning, middle, and end. We're working with families with very complex systems and people who have a lot of dysfunctions, who demand a lot of your time. And if you're not good at setting boundaries, you will just keep going and going and going. So I think something about the system, often the structures of the organizations we work in, that sometimes don't support people. Because of the high burnout rate and the high turnover rate, sometimes there's some teams that are struggling to recruit staff, and there's shortage of staff, and so you're just working. And at some point we'll probably, maybe later, talk a bit more about the context of diversity for us as black women, and that strong black woman cape that we wear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Where there's this, sort of perception that we're strong, that we can manage, that we're capable. We don't really break down and cry a lot.
No.
And we just sort of crack on, no matter how hard it is, as a people, and just carry such burdens
Yeah.
that sometimes it's only when we're unwell that we actually realize that we're burnt out.
Yeah.
That's a valid point. And when you were talking, I was thinking about the culture of some of the environments we're in. So I'll give you an example. There's times where I could be based in the office and it gets to 5 o'clock and I feel not ready to go. And knowing that our roles are 9 to 5, obviously, technically, although sometimes you can work outside of those hours. But 5 o'clock hits and I'll look around the office and no one's flinching to go. And it's like, okay, so not just me that feels like I feel bad. If I start to pack away at 5 o'clock, I start questioning, there must be something that I should have completed that's now going to be left incomplete now because it's 5 o'clock, but technically work isn't really technically finished. It actually is.
Yeah.
And I think going through experiencing burnout made me realise actually it's okay to shut off. It's okay to do that. The work's never going to be done.
No.
And that's something that I had to learn to live with. It's about putting it to a stage of me being comfortable. It's not going to get done. Tomorrow's another day. And it's okay not to finish it. Obviously, if it's a crisis situation, you want to put matters in place. But I'm fortunate that I'm not in frontline social work at this moment in this stage of my career. But if I were to be, as long as I've put the provisions in place, then I can then say, okay, tomorrow's another day.
Yeah. And something that also really struck me and I also read about is the kind of issues that social workers deal with. And when considering other professionals who suffer burnout, doctors, nurses, teachers were mentioned. People who actually people shall I refer to it as, working with people. And what really struck me is, some of the issues that we deal with, they're quite emotionally, not only emotionally draining, but in terms of the trauma that we are having to deal with, the levels of aggression and all that. And all this was also highlighted as, something that actually causes burnout. And it's made me actually wonder, how much support do we get? And the issue of support, the lack of support to deal with such high levels of, the high demands, and not only the high demands, but also the, you mentioned at times, shortage of staff and the long hours of work. Yeah, and as well as the pressures involved, you got to get this done, the paperwork, the level of paperwork and the stress. Yeah. So having thought about all that, how then should we take care of ourselves?
Yeah. I think some of it is recognizing that we work in cultures and systems that truth to power can sometimes be toxic.
Yeah.
And when I say toxic, you work in an organization where if you're packing up at 5, you feel weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I first came into social work from Jamaica to the UK, and you're given all of this work, and my colleagues were saying, oh, people come in and work on Saturday, we should try it as well, because maybe we can keep on top of... No, seriously, we were being told that. And I took myself out of my house, came to the office on a Saturday, because I thought, let me stay on top of this. I went on with a banging headache, and I remember thinking, no, I'm allergic to this is never going to happen again. And I never did it. And what I had to learn was how to balance. I think what I learned early in my career and what helped was figuring out how to be efficient. So my first manager in social work always said, Anita's deadly efficient. Never quite knew what he meant. And a lot of the things that I was doing at times, I didn't know why I was doing it. I was just doing it because it made sense to me. So like I said, I tried going into the office on the Saturday, went on with a headache. I thought, this is not it. I can't do it like this. But I realized over time that when I go home on the weekend and rest, come Monday, I'm firing on all cylinders. I'm a lot more efficient and I can get a lot more done. Whereas if I try to work over the weekend, come Monday, I'm still tired. And I'm taking longer to get things done because I'm just working longer hours. I'm not being more productive. And like I said, a lot of these things nobody told me. It's just I'm good at listening to my body. And if I try something and my body responds a certain way, it's like my brain is saying, no, this doesn't work. So this going in on Saturday doesn't work. But do you realize that? And it's something I've learned, practiced. I've taught students and other NQSWs. And I've seen people implement it and it works. And it's one of the reasons why, when we train NQSWs, I talk about emotional resilience, looking after self and others. And I always drill home that point about saying working longer hours doesn't get more done. You're just making yourself more tired. It's learning how to switch off, to rest, because then you're a lot more efficient. So that's what's worked for me, I think.
Wow. That's helpful. What's worked for me is holidays. I love to travel. As soon as my annual leave drops, the first thing I'm doing is going through and booking out dates I've got my Christmas leave already booked out.
Wow.
I've got summer leave. I've got my birthday, which is obviously very important. My husband's birthday, our anniversary, whatever it may be. That's already booked out. So I know I've already, whatever it may be. Whether I have a holiday booked or not, there's going to be a holiday. And I love to travel. I've even got my husband who's now he likes to travel too. And I feel for me, that's my incentive and my treat to myself, because I know when I'm on holiday, that's me. I'm shut off. I'm not taking no work with me. And it's sad to say, but there are workers that will take their laptops with them on holiday, work phones. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not doing that. I mean, actually, I'm not sorry. I'm proud to say I'm not bringing no laptop with me, no work phone, because my out of office, literally, I know my leave is set, my out of office is already set, so it automatically will come up. So even if I was to work after 5, it will pop up as a reminder to say, because I'll say it from like 5 o'clock the day before, and it will pop up to remind me you're on leave now. So what you doing? Log off. And I like that. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm on leave. And I have my own little leave dance as well that I like to do, a little shimmy.
Show us the dance, Shiro.
A little shimmy. It looks good as well with the arms. A little shimmy. Because I know that time,
God.
that's me time.
Where did you get her from, Rose?
But yeah, I'd say having holidays and sometimes even just booking the leave. I might not have a holiday planned, but booking the leave. So I'm actually sorry to hear that you lost out on annual leave.
I know, yeah.
I'm that person who wants to buy extra leave.
same
If I'd have known, I would have come and bought your leave off you, Rose. But yeah, definitely.
You know, I actually learned from this situation that there is something about something I've had to really reflect on. You know, thinking about others and not being kind to myself, thinking about myself. And I love what you said, you know, holidays, go and enjoy yourself. So it's something that I'm now learning, you know, to actually, it's not about making it better for others. How about me?
Yes.
How about me? And being kinder to myself. And I really like what you said about booking your holidays and in advance. And what I often tell people now is, you know, I had this manager who used to say, after every 3 weeks, give yourself a break.
Wow.
Factor in time to rest. And I like, Anita, what you say about rest. Do you know the Bible actually also God created the Sabbath and
Rest.
gave us that day to rest. And also, there's a lot that the Bible says about rest. You know, Jesus says, you know, come to me, all ye who are heavy laden, weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you, you know, rest. Yeah. So it's something that I'm now taking on board, you know, rest, the importance of rest. And also just reminding myself of what happened to me a couple of days, and that I realized a couple of weeks ago when I got very ill, and I think it was due to burnout. And it really made me reflect. And another thing that I've learned is learn to delegate. I'm not superwoman.
Yes.
I am not superwoman.
Yes.
And learning, I think it needs to be drilled in me. You know, this whole black woman, perspective that you've got to, you know, work hard. And the theme for Women's Day this year was about rest, wasn't it? Yeah. So I think it's really taking into, you know, making time to rest. Yeah.
Sorry, can I hear that again, please, Rose? Anita, come on, let's
All
get
right,
around this
okay.
shit. Are you not surprised to hear it?
Do you know what? I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's something we've had a go at Rose about sometimes about resting, and even though I have a go at Rose, I sometimes have a go at myself mentally. Because there are times when I will get obsessed about things and I will just go.
Yes.
I'm tired. I might not be showing it in the same way. And sometimes I don't get ill in the same way. I might have different symptoms in my body that I don't tell anybody about, but I can feel the burn. And I think the times when I've probably experienced burnout have been when there's been a lack of support.
Okay. Yeah.
So going through a season where not having the right kind of management support or being in a team where there's a shortage of staff, which is why I'm saying sometimes I have to be kinder to myself because I can find myself beating at myself and saying, why am I doing this? I'm always telling everybody about self-care. I'm always trying to set boundaries. And then when I've looked back, I've thought, but actually every time I've felt burnt out, it's because there's been a lack of support. So is it really me? Or is it the systems that are around me?
Yeah.
You know? But I suppose it goes further into saying, what do we do in situations when there's a lack of support? How do we get support for ourselves or take it easy on ourselves during those times? Because a lot of the times we don't catch it.
Yeah.
You're just kind of in autopilot and you just keep going. And it's only when sometimes things slow down a bit and your body comes off of that adrenaline that you then start to feel how tired and exhausted you are. And you're like, wow, I can't believe. But
That's a valid point. That really is valid. Because if I rewind back to the times when I felt like I was going through burnout, the level of support had dipped.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about personal support,
Yes.
because that's always up to par,
Yeah.
if not, but beyond that. It was more internally about the workplace support, lack of. And come to think of it, where I hold such a high expectation on myself, my standard's quite high. And if I already hold that standard high, and then I'm not getting that support to kind of bring me down or bring me back into par, I can feel like, similar to yourself, you may overcompensate.
Yes.
And then all you know is go, 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 go.
Yes.
And then eventually, it's no, 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 because
Yes.
you can't keep on going.
Yes.
We're not energized as bunnies.
No.
We can't keep on going all the time, and we have to look after ourselves. And although we're kind of slapping ourselves on the wrist to say, oh no, we've experienced burnout, I think it's also helped us to kind of share these stories with others,
Yes.
in hope that, you know, that's been our learning, and this is what we've done to improve on that. We're not just going to keep on sitting in that system and it to be a cycle, because it's not. It's about, actually, our learning has been X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
And that's why when we say what we say to people like Rose, to people like ourselves, and to people that we support, it's coming from a place of love and experience.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And something that I've also recognized, which I was not good at, is speaking up. And this is what I tell the people that I support now. Yeah. And they've come to me, oh, I feel like this, I feel like that. I'm not sleeping at night. I've been someone even mentioned, you know, dreaming about their work, having sleepless nights. On the other hand, someone else's, you know. And what I then said is, you've got to speak up.
Yeah.
You have got to speak up. And that has led me to learning to have boundaries. Because if you don't speak up, you're given more, because you can take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are given more and more and
Yes.
more cases, because
Yeah.
yes, she can do it.
Yes.
And that is something that I felt, you know, reflecting back on my own journey, that wow, I dealt with so many complex cases. I never spoke up. I had a number of cases. There was a time that I was thinking, this is not right. But thank God. And often I say this, God orders my steps,
Great.
because it got me out of, he got me out of front line.
Yes.
But also, I've had to learn to speak up, the importance of speaking up and setting those boundaries, that I cannot, you know, I cannot do this. And of course, our managers and our supervisors also have a duty of care, as long as you have clearly stated that I can't cope with this,
Yes.
then they have got a duty to support you accordingly.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, you may have the support, you may have a supportive manager, and like you said, speaking up, it's knowing how to push back at times,
Yes.
and being able to say, actually, I'm at capacity. Because I think often if you don't speak up and you appear competent and efficient, people will assume, oh, she's fine. And I've had people jokingly say before, you're like a swan, Anita, on the top, just cruising along, but underneath your feet are paddling like this. Because, again, like I said, as Black women, culturally, we've been taught, keep your composure. I've had a lot of older Black women in the workplace say, do not cry. Do not let them see you cry. If you get upset, make sure you run to the toilet, because you don't want to give them that power. And it's like, but is it wrong to be vulnerable, though? Is it wrong to show vulnerability? Is it wrong to say, actually, I am not okay? And I suppose for some people, it's the fear of, is it going to be used against me? Because if I say I don't have capacity or I'm not coping, are you going to be labeled as being incompetent?
Not thought of that.
Yeah, that's a valid point, actually. And especially if you're a person that holds high standards, that's not also going to work in your favor. When I think about, like, just certain situations where workers have talked about, like, similar to yourself, Rose, having dreams, and not knowing how to have an outlet, and the need for our duty of care, what came to mind when you mentioned that was, there was times where workers would say, I'm working beyond hours and I'm putting other people's kids to bed, but who's now putting my children to bed? And when that worker said that to me, someone I was supervising many, many years ago, it made me reflect and think, wow, there's times where I could be so entrenched in my work. And then obviously I have my husband at home. And it's like, now I've married up into our time. But I'm so focused, I've got this deadline, I just want to get it done. And it's just, you can get into that toxic kind of mindset.
Yeah.
And it makes you think and reflect, actually, no, that's not the right way, but it's just the culture, I think.
Yes.
But having a supportive manager or supportive network, they can hold you to account.
Yes.
And remind you, actually, that can wait till tomorrow. And I know a lot of times you guys hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Where there might be something that I'm doing, and then I hear the voice of, oh, but tomorrow's another day, or could that be done tomorrow? And I'm trying to like, yeah, go away. But then I'm like, oh wait, something finally clicks, and it's like, there's tomorrow. What difference is it going to make from me doing it now and not doing it to tomorrow?
Yeah.
So I do feel like having that support network is so vital and so key.
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, thank you, ladies. This is very, very helpful. Now we're about our time does fly when we're having fun.
It does.
I cannot believe this. So before we come to a close, if you could just give Anita, I'll come to you first.
30 seconds.
Thing that you are going to be, one thing that you're taking from this that you will be doing to.
Are you guys going to hold me to it?
Yeah.
Oh, so like a pledge.
Hey,
Yes.
Rose is calling us to pledge.
Um,
To be less obsessed about outcomes. Excellence is good,
Yeah.
but when it borders on perfectionism, I do set a high standard for myself and the people around me, because you want to accomplish great things. But to be patient, to know Rome wasn't built in a day,
Yeah.
and to know that it's with time and intentionality that every day you edge one bit closer, but being patient.
I like that.
Wow.
That's nice.
Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
really nice.
Sister in red.
Whatever.
I think mine will be about boundaries. Definitely. My pledge is that I've set boundaries around my time, and I'm going to be holding myself accountable, as well as having my circles to hold me accountable, but internally as well, setting those boundaries, which I have, shutting off at times, and just being boundaried.
Mine is going to be really being very, how can I put it? I'm going to be selfish of my time, and I'm going to be, I'm going to learn to delegate.
Yes.
Yeah, delegate and share the load with everyone,
Wow.
and not do it all myself. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Alrighty.
Oh, thank you. And this is a wrap. And viewers, please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.